Hey guys, welcome to the Global Leadership Podcast, where leaders of all sorts come to grow and expand their influence in healthy and holistic ways. I'm your host, Whitney Putnam, and listen, for this episode, it's not every day that you get to listen to an absolute legend in their field. This month, we're talking all about teamwork, and it is possible that there is no better expert on teamwork than today's guest, Coach K. And listen, Coach K comes with a lot of accolades, and yet he is so down to earth. I wanted to make sure you knew exactly what he's done before you hop into this episode where Craig Groeschel interviews Coach K, because I want you to hear exactly what he's accomplished before you lean into the conversation. So Coach K, he was the head men's basketball coach of Duke University from 1980 to 2022. That's 42 years of leading Duke basketball team. He also was the USA men's Olympic basketball coach, where he led teams to 3 gold medals. And many people consider Coach K the most accomplished basketball coach in all of history. He has the most NCAA Division I victories, as well as 5 NCAA championships. And on top of all of that, he's the author of a New York Times bestseller. He's a member of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. He's a professor of the practice of leadership at Duke. And he talks about this in the conversation that he has with Craig. Not only has he done and accomplished all of that, but you can tell he is very tender towards being a husband to his wife, being a dad to his family, and being a grandpa to his grandkids. You're going to hear it all in this conversation that happens with Craig Groeschel. And this was a live conversation that happened at GLS 24 inside of a special audience. So we are so glad that you get to tune in and listen to this unique conversation between Craig and Coach K.
Coach K, it's an honor to have you with us today, and I can't wait to dive into just the wisdom that you've picked up in decades of not only arguably the greatest basketball coach of all time, but I would say arguably one of the greatest coaches of any sport of all time. And so it's an honor to learn from you. And I was a college athlete. I love sports. I love winning. I love coaches change your life. I admire all of your success, but I think the thing that stands out to me that maybe sets you apart, even well beyond your record, at your retirement, you had your whole family and grandkids stand on the court with you, and because they mattered to you so much. And you said something that was really stood out. It was very emotional, but you said family is more important to you than basketball.
Right.
Tell me the story behind that, and was it always that way?
Well, it started because of how I was raised. And I was raised right here in the inner city of Chicago, and Emily and William did a really good job, my parents. We were a good Polish family. Not that there's any other type of Polish family. But we were one of them. And they taught values, but they said, you know, the team that will always support you is your family. And just remember that as you go out into the world. And, you know, my wife's been a great partner, and we celebrate family. You know, like my 3 daughters, my wife and I, our group text is the starting 5. All right, so on the way to the airport this afternoon, hopefully I can get back into North Carolina today. I'll look at it and there'll be like 25 things, you know, like pictures. I have one family's in Spain coming back, so they've been sending gobs of pictures, and then we have to say, "Oh, that was lovely. You look good," and whatever. But we stay current. And do you know streaming, right? Okay. So I thought I'd be out of a gym when I retired, and 3 of my grandsons play AAU basketball. So, yeah. And so every weekend, you know, I'm getting ready to go out the door, and my wife says, you know, Quinn plays at 10 and 2, and then Rem plays at noon and 3. And I said, well, what does that mean? She says, that means you have to watch them play. And I want to watch them, but not all the time. And then we celebrate, we go on vacation together. We were at Lake Gaston, 20 of us. We were just at Figure Eight Island, 15 of us, and we'll go back to Figure Eight. And at Christmas, my wife shuts down our house for 2 days, and everyone moves in. And everyone has to wear the same pajamas. And no pictures, though. They go on the internet or Instagram. And you have to keep working at family, like you. And God bless my wife and my daughters, like they love one another. And it's worked out great. But, in leadership, to me, the two things that keep you balanced are family and faith. And they are there forever. And so during hard times, never pay the piper in both, not that you're paying the piper, but spend time in both of those so that during the joyous times, you kind of forget about it. But no one has joyous times all the time. And so faith and family have really kept balance for me and keep you humble, instead of thinking, look what we did or look what I did. And, no, this is what our family did. This is, and really, I'm Catholic. My wife's Baptist, and they sing more than we do, and not in Latin. What the heck's going on? And but we believe in God. We believe in family, and we believe in being good to one another, and that everyone's important. Just to get a little bit, not that hopefully not that I'm a profound scholar on religion, but the God I believe in, I always have to give it like a story, is the God that was like Santa Claus. He or she or whoever God is dropped presents all over the world. And they wrapped them up, and they were different races, different languages, different genders, different. And he expected us to open up all the boxes and treat each box the same. That's who I am. Everybody's important wherever you're from, because otherwise, why would God have placed you on this planet? Just because he placed you in Australia. And boy, did God put a lot of great people in Australia. Got to make up for that. And but wherever it is, and I don't know. To me, it's fundamental.
Yeah. So for those listening on the podcast, Coach has been poking at Australia all day long. So that's
just
why
once.
Well, just loving post g'day to our Australia buddies, and the way Jesus said it was, he said you should love your neighbor as yourself. And
the other thing, again, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And to all of you, much is given. Come on, come on, you're not going to do this again. So, do it the right way.
You get one shot.
You get one shot.
Yeah. You talked about agility as being one of the three, and then you gave us a bonus A, four A's that are important for good leaders. And I want to stay on family for just a moment, because I think it's so important. There are so many leaders that are really successful in leading a business or a ministry or coaching, and then they really struggle at home. And so I want to just stay there for a moment. Over 42 years of coaching, I imagine you had to make some changes to really be faithful and connect with your family. With the intensity of your schedule, and there's not many professions that are going to be more demanding than what you did. Tell us practically what you did to stay connected to family, and did you make any changes along the way?
Yeah, you have to make, you're on the road a lot, and your time is in preparation. There's more preparation than the actual games. And my wife is really smart, and my daughters are smart. And I grew up in a guy's world. My brother was a captain of the Chicago Fire Department. He passed about 11 years ago, and went to all boys high school here. West Point was all men at that time, and I've learned from a woman's wisdom. You know, there's just certain things that they were included in what I did, and so that helped me. That helped me immensely, but I wasn't able to be at all the events for my daughters. But whenever I was at an event, it was their event. So if anybody came up to me and said, I said, no, I'm not doing anything for anybody. I'm here for Jamie, or I'm here for Wendy or Debbie. And because when they look from the stage, I want them to see that I'm looking at them. I don't want to be doing autographing something or meeting you for the first, nothing against anybody, but boom, it's them. And in those moments, we always gave it. And then they understood the other moments, and that you couldn't be with them all the time. But when you are with them, be with them.
Well, celebrate your success off the court as much as on the court. And 42 years of coaching, you joked around in your talk, and maybe not even totally joking, but you said, like, it's different today because attention spans are less than what they used to be. I imagine that you studied leadership, you teach leadership, you're a leadership expert. You've probably had to make quite a few adjustments over 4 decades. Can you tell me, how are you leading differently today than you were in the past?
Yeah, well, I know more. And, part of leadership is the continuous study of people. Like the most interesting thing on this planet is a human being. And they keep changing, based on the culture that they're in. And you keep changing. Like, by trying to communicate with my team all the time, I stayed younger. I'm still wearing my Air Force Ones, and you can't wear all the stuff they wear because they look good in it, you wouldn't. And but no, I've just tried to keep adapting, and as it's always changing. It's always changing. So I hate when people say, well, we used to do it that way 5 years ago. Okay, you can still do the same thing, or the purpose of it, not the way you did it. Not the way you did it, or the wording that you used. But it is the same thing. Yeah, we're celebrating respect, or integrity, or whatever. That doesn't change. But how you put it across, what music you play, who speaks. I ended up, I call it they get tired of one voice. Any group gets tired of one voice. And so can you have an assistant talk, or a player, and you tee them up. Sometimes in the last few years, we'd have a theater where we show tape and give feedback. And I'd have, the current coach is John Shire. John was my associate. And I'd say, you take it. And I would sit in the back. And then he'd make a point, and I might say, and by the way, and then they all had to turn around. That was important. In other words, they weren't just sitting there because they have where's my phone? I wonder who's texting me now. I wonder if I can put this on Instagram. What's going on with TikTok? What is... and so you have to, diversions, in the military, sometimes you were attacking here, but you have to throw a flare there, or, you have to be more innovative.
It's intentional to keep their attention.
And it's up to you to keep their attention. And it's up, well, and then this is a kind of funny, kind of tragic for me, but sometimes in talking, I'll use as an example somebody from another decade, who was famous, and say, well, like this guy. And so they'd go out and stretch, and I'd talk to my staff, what do you think? And accountability, and one of my assistants would say, Coach, they don't know who that is. I said, really? They don't know who that person is? No. So then goofing around, and vulnerability is a good thing with leadership, and humility, and humor. And so while they're stretching, I say, okay, you jokers, I just said that just to goof off with you. It's this guy that he's like, and you have to try to stay current. And having all our grandkids are within 10 minutes of us, which is amazing. And so we stay current in that regard. And it's been fun, like it's been fun. We have a great family, not a good family. And yeah, nothing against guys, but if we had 3 more kids, I'd want 3 more daughters. And no, my girls are, boom, they are really good. And they love you more. Come on, you never get tired of that, right? Like, can I have a little love, son? I'm watching a football game. Go get your love from your dog, and daughters are actually jealous of the dog. Yeah, because the dog, we have labs. So we had black lab defense, chocolate Cameron, yellow, blue, who I loved all of them, but he was my favorite. And now my team and when I retired, they gave a 75-year-old couple a puppy.
That's pretty funny.
No. So my wife said, I thought they liked us. And they already named him, so it's Coach. And yeah, and I love him, man. He's a silver lab, more like a chocolate, and 85 pounds now. And that's been really, really good.
So a lot's changed, including your pets. And you said something earlier I thought was really important. You said, yes, your responsibility. And so I think as leaders, we need to understand that we have to work harder.
Yeah.
We have to be intentional. The burden of the communication is on us. And if we're not working really, really hard, I always tell our leaders, it doesn't matter if you said it. That doesn't mean they heard it, believe it, or will do it. It doesn't matter if you said it. That doesn't mean they heard it, believe it, or will do it. You have to step into it and say, what do I want them to know? What do I want them to feel? And what do I want them to do? It's not just know and do. If there's not emotion, they're not going to move toward it. And so you've acknowledged a lot has changed. Coach, what never changes in leadership?
Yeah, your basic values. Your commitment to the values. It's religion, really. Because all the 7 that I gave are all, come on. They transcend everything.
So were your 7 values at Duke constant for 42 years?
No, I didn't start teaching values until I learned that. That's why, whether the pastor or whatever, you have to continue to learn. And you learn from your failures. Like I didn't do a good job today. I thought I thought I was going to knock it out of the church or whatever, not park, but.
I actually like that. Yeah, I'm going to knock it out of church next time, just so you know.
I hope that's not inappropriate. But,
No. That's God honoring, just so you know.
And no, just to about a third of the way through my coaching career, you keep learning, and I learned too from speaking for the Washington Speakers Bureau. I've been a part of our Fuqua School of Business for over 2 decades. I work closely with we have a world-class medical center, and I work with them and doing things like being on the V Foundation for cancer research. And, it's amazing. Can I tell a story about the V Foundation?
I hope you do.
Okay, so we have a wine celebration in Napa. Napa's an amazing place. And I've hosted it for 18 years, and it's raised about over $160 million for cancer research. It's a huge, not because of me. So this is a really cool story. So we just came back from Napa. It's a 4-day event, and we have our board meeting there. And we also we have a scientific committee of 29 of the top oncologists in the United States. And we have a symposium there. And they actually named the symposium after my family this year. And we make grants to researchers to help them find cures. And that's what Coach Valvano, he and I were like brothers. That's what he wanted. And his cancer has never been, they haven't found a cure for it. So they named a grant, Mike and Mickey grant, and they gave it to a Dr. Sita Kugel. She's from Seattle. She looks like she's 16. No, she's, like, you're a researcher, huh? Where are you going to college next year? And the morning of the symposium, we had a breakfast with her, and she said, Coach, I said, tell me about how you're doing. He says, we're trying to get $400,000 more dollars. We're right close. When you go to clinical trial, it means you got a chance. And someone else thinks you got a chance. And he said, we need like $400,000 to do that. So at the event, it's a huge event. You can't believe how much they bid. Well, the 10.5, you can realize. And so I give my talk, and at the end I said, before the auctioneer comes out, I have an auction item. And I brought her up. And I explained, I said, God, I get chills thinking of this, and I got emotional. I said, God works in mysterious ways. This is Dr. Sita Kugel. We have a grant for her research. And I'm going to start crying. She's trying to find a cure for Jim's cancer 31 years later. And she needs $400,000. And so it's up for auction. My wife and Mickey and I bid $100,000 for this, and we're looking for more people. And 10 other people, we raised $1.1 million. And so, but isn't it crazy how God works and puts you in like my buddy Mo? So I don't know if I was going to see him because there's 7,000 of you all, you're like ants all over the place, just good ants, not all. And we're driving up, and I see him in the parking lot, like crazy stuff. Just, and I believe in that stuff. As long as you keep with good people, keep doing good things, those things, all right, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
How did you do that? How did you do that?
I believe in that stuff too, and I appreciate you getting personal. I'd like to even ask you a more personal question if you're okay with it. In leadership, everyone hurts, right? I always say if you're not hurting, you're probably not leading.
Right.
And then sometimes outside stuff hits. In the mid-'90s, you went through some difficult times. Right. Can you tell me what was it that helped you get through that season?
Yeah, so we went to, in the late 80s and early 90s, we went to 7 Final Fours in 9 years and won 2 national championships. And our whole world changed. The demands, I was a micromanager, had a hard time saying no. And then I had some medical, I had a bad back and we started practice, and I had to have an operation. I was going to have a dead foot. They had to do something with your back to make sure that didn't happen. And I was supposed to be out for like 5-6 weeks, and I came back 2 days later. And by December, late December, I had hit a wall. I had no feeling. I mean, I could do that, but I had no joy, sorrow, nothing. Empty. It was a mental health situation, really. And my president at that time, Keith Brody, was one of the top psychiatrists in the world. And I took the second half of the season off, and like I'd watch tapes of our championship game and said, there's no way I can do that anymore. I can't do that. And he said, yes, you can. And we worked 4 months, and I got it back. And then I changed from a micromanager to empowering people. And I changed my leadership style. And unbelievable, unbelievable. And my wife was so supportive of all that. And by the way, in those moments, something that I found when stuff happens, like somebody gets hurt, somebody goes, and as a leader, like a guy got hurt and now it's going to go crazy. You go into your room alone and you want to yell, like, oh, why me? Why is this? We all have done that. And when I was younger, I might throw something, not at somebody, but at the wall. There's still dents in some of our places. Don't do that, by the way. And but I decided that's not good, because the longer you stay in that moment, the worse. So I started a 4-step process. And the first 2 are with self-talk. And when that happened, I would say, okay, and I have a talk with myself. I said, I believe in me. I believe in me. I believe in my team. And I'd actually look in the mirror. I believe in me. I believe in you. And then the second thing is, God has given all of us the opportunity to, we're all the same in the fact we all are in control over our attitude. If you have a bad attitude, it's on you. If you have a great attitude, it's on you, no matter what. So the second self-talk is, I have a great attitude. I have a great attitude. The third step is preparation, and it usually has to do with a team. So when I would get with my team, I would look them. I think 4 of the most powerful words on this planet are when you can look in someone's eyes and say, I believe in you. I love you is cool, especially if you mean it. You don't just say it. But I believe in you. That's a good thing. And I would tell my team, I believe in you, and we've had great attitudes. Now let's figure out what went wrong or what adjustments it's called. The third step was preparation. And then the fourth step was execution. And a lot of times when you go through that, when you execute, you find out that thing that seemed to make you so bad actually made you better, because you looked at yourself or your group. And so staying in the moment where you're not looking at those things, it's counterintuitive. It's not smart. And once I matured more as a coach, I said, I got to do that. And so that's what I've tried to do. And look, we're all going to get knocked on our butts or something. Come on, it's human, but don't stay there. At West Point, we never accepted failure. And we had a saying, failure is not our destination. So when you get knocked on your butt, get up. And when you get up, whatever you're going to do, maybe you need a team to do it with. And so that's where I started learning about winning, but also winning as a team. And so to me, all that makes sense. It's just, and you're in control of that. And you shouldn't let the situation control you. And at times you need help from your family or from your faith-based community. And the sooner you can help someone in that so they don't stay there, the quicker the better.
I appreciate that response. I want to highlight 3 things you said. One is, here we have one of the all-time greatest coaches, and he's talking about humbling himself and changing his leadership style. And we need to hear that we need to constantly be aware of, how do I need to think differently? What do I need to learn? He's saying, hey, I picked up values. Like, it was at the Global Leadership Summit when I heard Lencioni years ago speak about values. Like, values, we needed, and so we incorporated values in the church, maybe a similar time when you started doing it there. Then what I want you to notice is the top of the game, he went and got help. Meaning, all of us need to be willing to ask for help. And then the self-talk, I thought, is really important. This is something that's helped me, is this very same thing is you become what you say to yourself. And from a scriptural standpoint, we call it renewing your mind. Don't be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What you say to yourself determines who you become. And so we have the greatest of the great who had to change his leadership style, had to get help, and had to talk himself into who he's supposed to be. If he could do it, that means you need to do it too. Yeah. We all do.
You brought, just real quick on the talk, like at West Point, we were taught like, it's all right to be afraid or fear something, but you can't show a fearful face. Show a strong face and speak to action, and right away. Even if you feel like it may not work, you got to make it work. We're going to make, and you speak to action. And I believe in that 100%. It's helped me. There are many times something happened in a game, I said, we're going to lose. I don't want to lose. And sometimes you're too far behind. It didn't make any difference. But my team needed to see a strong face. And they needed me. And then if you can ask the group about that situation, can you do this? Can you make the pass? Can you do that? I'm going to set up. You want the shot? Yeah, I want the shot. They've already done it. It's really it's a powerful mental thing, but a leader can bring that out instead of just giving orders or giving advice, making people talk. I think too, I've been speaking a long time, so you keep trying to get better and whatever. I don't use notes or anything, but I walk the stage because that's better. And every once in a while I'll lean down or and I try to get energy from someone in the audience, and so thank you for those people that I stared at. Yep. And no, you give me, and we tell our players, don't just be an energy receiver, be an energy giver. If I come to practice and I'm the only one giving energy, come on, and maybe I'd give more if you give me some. So that type of thing, eye contact, getting people animated, talking, and where it's not just about you. And you become what I call a plural pronoun team. There's no I, me, or whatever. It's what we're doing, what ours. And there's no blame, there's responsibility. And if we looked at failure as the ability to grow, it's a seed for growth. When, Jimmy C was a seed for growth. If his mom allowed, that story of, why it's not Jimmy's fault. No, it is his fault. It's responsibility. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's be real here.
So final question, and only because we respect your time. What I know about all of the leaders in our community is we don't want to lose.
No.
We all want to win. And there's almost a defensive posture I see in leaders today, like, I don't want to get canceled. I don't know if I'm going to make it. You made it 42 years at the same place with one of the most winning records ever. Tell me about the secret of longevity and anything else you want to add to a community of leaders who want to win.
Well, I think it starts with living your why. So I've wanted to be a coach since I was 16. And even though I went to West Point made coaching go on steroids, for me, but not literally, but,
Have we drug tested you today?
Yes,
yeah,
the opportunities and, living your why all the time helps. And I've really loved what I did. And people say, what's the thing you're most proud of? And I said, I would tell you sustained excellence. And you don't want to be a one-shot pony here. You want to show that you can do it over. And so we were number one in the country in 5 different decades at some time. And you have to learn to love preparation. Everybody wants to win unless you're really messed up, like, I want to lose. And but people, not everyone want to prepare to win. And the preparation to win is much more important. And I was anal about preparation. Like, Craig, I wanted to be, when I walked on the court with my team, I wanted to be worthy of winning with my preparation. And hopefully I was more prepared than the other guy, but sometimes the other guy was also worthy. And that's where you have your great games, and that's why when we were worthy of winning and lost a game, I didn't really feel we lost. When we won a game that we weren't worthy of winning, I felt we lost. And so it was the commitment to performance and giving it. And then if you do lose the game that both people were worthy of, shake hands, congratulate, and thank God that you had the ability to be in an arena of that excellence. You're not in that. We lost our last game. People say, well, man, it was the Final Four and against our arch rival, and everyone said, oh, we killed you. All right, but that was okay. It wasn't okay that we won, but the fact that that arena was as big an arena as you could have, and I love that. I mean, no one goes undefeated, man, and nobody. Serena Williams may be close, in tennis. Our women's basketball team for the Olympics is pretty good with that. They're in the semis. But as an individual, you're going to lose. Then why did you lose? And if it was performance that we lost by our performance, I was so hard on our team, even if we won, so hard. And if we lost and we had good performance, I said, let's go, man. Let's go and keep getting better, keep putting it on the line, and let's see what the heck happens.
Coach, I want to celebrate your sustained excellence. I love that phrase, sustained excellence, and it's never an accident. It's always born out of extreme preparation. I always say it's the things that no one sees that bring about the results that everyone wants. And so I celebrate all the things that no one ever saw, the sacrifices, the discipline, working through hard times to create one of the greatest legacies of coaching of all time. I applaud you, I honor you, and I'd love for everyone here to show gratitude. Coach,
thank you.
Like I said at the beginning of this episode, it's not every day that you get to hear from a legend in their field, especially a legend that can teach us all about teamwork. I know that I'm going to be sharing this episode with my team where we can begin processing and applying the principles that Coach K and Craig talked about in this conversation. And I want to encourage you, before this episode even wraps up, just right now, wherever you are, go ahead and share this episode with your team. They're going to want to listen to it, and you're going to want to be able to process with them what you all can begin applying to your very own team. I know what I want to apply to my own leadership in the teams that I lead is what Coach K was talking about when he said he went through a process of becoming a better leader. He talked a lot about self-talk. And listen, you and I both know there's not a podcast, there's not a book, there's not a event that you can go to that you can just become a better leader by attending or listening. The biggest work that we can do as leaders is the self-talk that we share with ourselves and coach ourselves toward becoming a better leader. So personally, I've been taking sticky notes and putting them all around myself, reminding myself the leader that I am and can be to be able to lead in healthy and holistic ways for my team, for my family, for my friendships. So I highly encourage you, listen to this episode with your team and then practice self-talk in your own leadership. And you guys, Coach K, he was a speaker at GLS 24. He obviously gave us so much wisdom from the summit stage. And we're going to be moving into August here before we know it. And we want to encourage you to bring your teams to the Global Leadership Summit 2025. It's August 7th and 8th. And listen, we want you to have your teams there so that you guys can grow and develop together. So make sure to already go in, begin purchasing your tickets and planning the time that you'll spend at the Global Leadership Summit on August 7th and 8th. You can go to globalleadership.org/summit to get your tickets today. Again, thanks so much for joining us on this podcast episode. We love having you a part of this community. And remember, everyone has influence, so lead where you are.